Good morning, folks, from the beautiful island of Bali in Indonesia. We're at Bali International Airport, flying this beautiful Singapore Airlines special livery 777-300ER. This livery, of course, was designed by Singapore Airlines for the 50th anniversary to be used on the Airbus A380, but somebody on the ABSIM library was kind enough to make this for the PMDG 777-300ER, and I think it just looks absolutely fantastic. So this is the wonderful aircraft they're going to be flying today from here in Bali, Indonesia, to Singapore Airlines' huge hub at Changi Airport. So as you can see, baggage loading is just about to complete, and passenger boarding is in full swing at the moment. So while that's going on, let's go ahead and quickly walk through the flight plan and the route going up to Singapore this morning. Okay, welcome aboard the flight deck, folks. Let me go ahead and pull up our flight plan here. Okay, we're flying Singapore Airlines Flight 939 today, Boeing 777-300ER with GE engines from Bali Denpasar International Airport to Singapore Changi Airport. Cost index 85, initial cruise level of flight level 380. Flight plan distance 985 nautical miles, carrying 339 packs. Trip fuel 15,059 kilograms, and 2 hours and 11 minutes en route. Our alternate, should be needed, is Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia. And we're going to be releasing with 24,375 kilograms on board, which should give us an endurance of 3 hours and 15 minutes. Route of flight today, departing via the Badup 1 Bravo departure to the Odono intersection, then via airway M3635 to Surga, and then via the Surga 1 Alpha arrival into Singapore Changi. Let's take a look at that on the map here. So again, we're on the island of Bali in Indonesia. Beautiful resort destination. Departing via the Batur 1 Bravo departure, Odono transition, and then M635 to Surga, and then via the Surga 1 Alpha arrival into Singapore Changi.
TCAS test pass.
And looks like Singapore is going to be landing to the north today, so should have a pretty nice view off the left side of the airplane of the downtown Singapore and the city of Singapore as we're coming into land. So that should be nice. Should be a really nice flight this morning. Okay, let's go back to the cockpit here and do our pre-flight checklist. First, I'm going to do my oxygen test. Pre-flight checklist.
Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen.
Tested 100%.
Tested 100%. Flight instrument.
Heading 357. Altimeter 1011.
Heading 357. Altimeter 1011. Parking brake.
Set.
Fuel control switches.
Cut off.
Pre-flight checklist complete.
Looks like boarding is complete at this point. I'm going to go ahead and close entry 1 because FS2 crew will not do that for me. I'm going to arm it as well. Okay. And we'll go ahead and do our departure brief at this point. Are you ready for the departure brief?
Go ahead.
Okay, this is going to be a standard left seat takeoff, flaps 15 degrees, and D-rated takeoff thrust minus 20%, off of runway 27. V1 is a 139er, rotate 142, and V2 151 knots. The weather information at Bali International: winds 290 at 4 knots, visibility greater than 10 kilometers, scattered at 1,700 feet, temperature 28, dew point 23, and QNH 1011. We are located at gate 22 this morning, so let's go ahead and bring up our taxi route here real quick. Okay, gate 22 at the international terminal, and we're going to taxi and hold short of runway 27 via the north apron, Papa 1, November 1, and hold short of 27 for departure. During the departure, for any malfunctions before V1, engine failure, fire, loss of control, aircraft unsafe to fly, I'm going to call reject to reject the takeoff, apply maximum braking, we'll exit off the runway if able, and advise ATC. For any malfunctions after V1, we're going to continue the takeoff and treat it as an in-flight emergency. I will handle the controls and advise ATC, and you back me up with the appropriate QRH procedures and checklists. Pending that, we're going to be departing via the Batur 1 Bravo departure off of 27 this morning. And the departure procedure is as follows. We're going to take off and maintain runway heading to Liba, which will be crossed 3,000 feet. Then on heading 265 to Lipas, which will be crossed at flight level 130. Then 342 heading to Lambu at flight level 150. Same heading up to Linta, crossed at flight level 190. Then Makan at flight level 220 and heading 022, and then on to Manuk, which will be crossed at flight level 245. Following that, we're going to continue on to the Batur transition on a heading of 003. And the top altitude for this departure is going to be flight level 245, which we have set up in our MCP altitude selector. Special considerations today. There is, of course, terrain to the north of the airport, and as well terrain directly under us, especially as we come up on Manuk during the departure. But nothing really major in terms of anything to worry about today. No real weather considerations either. Okay, so that's it for the departure brief. Any questions?
No questions.
Hi guys, here's the load chute for you. Have
Thanks.
a safe flight.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Can we pressurize the hydraulics?
Roger, you are clear to pressurize the hydraulics.
Okay. Before start procedure.
Are we cleared to pressurize?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, guys. Everyone's seated. We're all buttoned up and ready to go in the back.
Thanks.
If you need anything, just let me know.
Okay, we're all ready to go here. And as soon as my co-pilot completes her pre-flight, or sorry,
All
our
ready
before
for the
start
checklist.
flows, which she just did, we're going to go ahead and request our, or do our before start checklist. Cancel ECAS.
Check.
Before start checklist, please.
Before start checklist. Flight deck door. Closed and locked. Passenger signs. On. MCP.
Let me just set my heading bug here real quick. 269. V2151, heading 269er. Altitude, flight level
Takeoff
245. V1 139er, rotate 142, V2 151. V2 151.
CDU pre-flight.
Completed.
Completed. Trim.
Let me set my trim here real quick. 6.25 units, so I'm going to go ahead and set that up. 6.2 units, 0 and 0.
Taxi and takeoff briefing.
Completed.
Beacon. On. Before start checklist complete.
Cabin crew arm slides. Start sequence is 2 then 1.
Check.
Okay, let's go ahead and get our pushback request in. We'll do our quick edit pushback, of course. And about there should be good.
Good day, Captain. The tug is connecting now, so we'll push it back in just a couple of minutes. Confirm parking brake is set, please.
Confirm. And this beautiful Bali scenery, by the way, is, I believe, from Aerosoft. Their Bali X scenery. It's very, very nice. It includes a fair amount of detail outside the perimeter of the airport itself to the surrounding town of Denpasar, which is pretty cool.
Tug is in position and bypass bid is inserted. Ready to push. Apron is clear. Release parking brake.
Okay, we'll start our clock here and release our parking brake.
Pushing now. The aircraft is clear. Start engines at your discretion.
And we'll start engine 2 first. Start engine 2. Start engine 2.
Starting 2.
Okay, and as soon as I see an oil pressure indication, I'm going to move my fuel control lever to run.
Oil pressure.
Checked. CN2 coming up there. And oil pressure is the third box down there. And the start selector has gone back into normal, and you can see that engine is stabilized already. So we'll start engine 1 now. Start engine 1. Start engine 1.
Starting 1.
And again, we're looking for an oil pressure indication. There it is. I'm going to move my fuel control switch to run on engine
Oil
1.
pressure.
Checked.
Pushback complete. Set parking brake and confirm.
Okay, parking brake is set. Okay, start selector for engine 1 is moved back to norm. And the engine as stabilized.
Unlocking the gear.
Flaps 5.
Disconnected and clear.
Flaps 5.
Bypass bin has been removed.
You can hear ground disconnecting there. And I'm going to do my flight controls check. Full left, full right, neutral, full up, full down, neutral. And then full left on the rudder, full right on the rudder, and neutral.
Clear left and right. Disconnecting now. Have a good flight. Bye-bye.
Before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist. Anti-ice. Auto. Recall. Checked. Auto brake. RTO. Flight controls.
Checked.
Ground equipment.
Clear.
Before taxi checklist complete.
Clear left.
Clear right.
Okay, and we can go ahead and start taxiing out here because we're just going to turn to the right, so it should stay clear of the pushback duck. Again, this is a truly stunning, beautiful livery, and it's a real pity that Singapore Airlines never saw fit to paint this on their 777-300ERs in real life, because I think it looks fantastic. They did paint it, as I said, on their Airbus A380s, which looked absolutely fantastic, but I think they looked even better on the 777. All right, off we go. Parking brake released, and let's start taxiing out. Brake check. Pretty straightforward taxi route here at Bali International. Single runway and a single parallel taxiway. So nothing too fancy. Of course, you can see the variety of traffic you get here at Bali. All the colorful tails, liveries of the different aircraft here. You have Ngurah, Indonesia, of course, which is the flag carrier of Indonesia. Silk Air, which is a subsidiary of Singapore Airlines that is going to be fully absorbed back into Singapore Airlines. Tiger Air, another subsidiary. Lion Air, another Indonesian carrier. I believe that's Sriwijaya there, with the tail, with the pattern tail, or no, sorry, Batik Airlines. And Jetstar, which is an Australian carrier. Lots of tourists come into Bali, of course, from all over Asia and Australia. Very, very nice destination.
The cabin is ready.
Thanks. Cabin's ready.
Take your seats.
Let's go ahead and do our before takeoff checklist. Before takeoff checklist.
Captain, check the flaps first.
Flaps 15. We should have set flaps 15 actually. There we go. Before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist. Flaps.
Flaps 15.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Okay, let's go ahead and do our runway entry procedure here. Runway entry procedure.
Check.
And I'm going to turn on my weather radar.
Approaching 27.
And of course, the 300ER with that incredibly long fuselage needs to be overshot a little
On runway.
or you need to
27.
overshoot a little during your lineup to ensure that you line up properly on the runway. Okay, there we go. Ready for takeoff here. Takeoff.
Check.
I'm going to advance my throttles to 55% N1 and then press the toga button. Toga. Thrust ref.
Check. Thrust set.
Checked.
Knots.
Checked.
V1.
Rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up. Checked. And let's engage our autopilot here. Flaps 5.
Speed check, flaps 5.
Flaps 1.
Speed check, flaps 1.
Flaps up.
Speed check, flaps up.
And we're going to be crossing the Leba intersection up here at 3,000 feet as per the SID. However, we can assume here that ATC has cleared us to climb up to our top altitude of flight level 245, so we'll go ahead and do that by clicking on the altitude selector knob to eliminate those altitude restrictions between here and flight level 245. Bali and Denpasar behind us there. And our transition altitude on this departure is 11,000 feet. Checked. And at this point, to save some time in our route, we're going to assume that ATC has cleared us direct to the Batura intersection and up to our cruising flight level of 380. So I'm going to roll our altitude selector up to flight level 380. Past our transition altitude of 11,000. I've just set standard on our Barrow ref. After takeoff climb checklist.
After takeoff checklist. Landing gear. Up. Flaps. Up. After takeoff checklist complete.
Transition altitude standard set.
Standard set.
Okay, I'm going to put hard mute on to prevent any unintended commands. And as I mentioned, we're going direct to Batur at this point, so let's go ahead and do that. There's Batur, and we'll put that in here. Okay, off we go, direct Batur. Top of climb in about 89 nautical miles at 0231 Zulu. Okay, still about 70 nautical miles to go to our top of climb, which will be reached at 0233 Zulu, which is just about 9 minutes from now. And we'll be arriving into at Singapore Changi at 0421 Zulu, which is about an hour and 57 minutes from now, and 890 nautical miles to go. All right, cool. Okay, folks, so we're going to continue our climb here, and I'm going to give you some ChasePlane cinematic camera views of the climb, and I'll see you again in a few minutes as we come up on our top of descent. Enjoy the views. Hey folks, welcome back. We're coming up on our top of descent point here in just about 40 nautical miles or so. So I'm going to go ahead and start having our co-pilots set up for top of descent. I'm going to go through my descent flows as well. But first we're going to go ahead and start with our approach brief here. Are you ready for the approach brief?
Go ahead.
Okay, the weather information at Singapore Changi Airport. Winds variable at 5 knots. Visibility greater than 10 kilometers. Few clouds at 1,800 feet. Temperature 29, dew point 24, and QNH is 1011. And let's review the arrival chart here real quick. We are arriving via the Surgo 1 Alpha arrival, which applies for runway 02 left and 02 center. From Surgo, we're going to be tracking to Ikago, then left to Ikema, Ibula, which will be crossed at 250 knots below flight level 180, then on to Lavax at 220 knots, left turn to Ignon at or above 7,000 feet, then on to Sanat, which will be crossed at 190 knots about 4,000 feet. And then we'll be making a right turn where we'll expect vectors for the ILS runway 02 center today. That's our expected arrival runway. Our transition level is going to be flight level 130. Let's review the approach plate here for 02 center. Okay, approach plate briefing, ILS DME runway 02 center. Localizer frequency, India Charlie Echo 108.3, final approach course 023. Final approach fix Lepna will be crossed at 4,500 feet. Our correction, final approach fix is actually Lassen, which will be crossed at 1,500 feet. And our decision altitude is going to be 214 feet, airport elevation of 22 feet. And for a Cat 1, runway visual range of 720 meters or visibility 800 meters on the minima. The MSA within 25 nautical miles of the Tekong VOR coming in from the east, which we are, is 1,900 feet. And if we need to go mist, I'm going to call for go around flaps 15, and then we're going to climb to 3,000 feet via heading of 023, and via the Tekong VOR radial 023 to the Nylon intersection, and we'll hold there, or we'll proceed as directed by ATC. And that's the approach plate briefing. We're going to be landing flaps 30, auto brake setting of level 2 today on 02 center. Once we land on 02 center, we're going to exit quite likely via either Echo 5 or Echo 4 and taxi to Terminal 2 there. And that's it for the approach brief. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay, we've been cleared to this point by ATC to descend via the Star. So I'm going to go ahead and rotor altitude selection here down to 4,000, which is the altitude above which we want to cross the Sanat intersection. Notify cabin to prepare for landing.
Okay.
Okay, VRF of 139. And since winds are variable at 5 knots, we're going to be landing at 144 knots. About 7 nautical miles to go to our top of descent, and 155 nautical miles to go before we land in Changi. And you can see that our co-pilot is going through her descent flow procedure here. She's going to set the auto brake and do some other things to prepare for landing. And we're top of descent point. The autopilot has initiated our VNAV path descent here. And we've crossed Circa. We're heading for Chicago here. Descent checklist.
Stand by. Descent checklist. Recall. Checked. Notes.
Checked.
Auto brake level 2. Landing data.
VREF 139er. Minimums 214 feet.
VREF 139. Minimum 200 feet. Approach briefing.
Completed.
Descent checklist complete.
And transition level is going to be 13,000 feet for Singapore. So down we go. and the 777-300ER that we're flying at the moment can accommodate 365 passengers in 3-class configuration, 396 in 2-class configuration. Wingspan is 212 feet 7 inches. The length is actually 242 feet. It's a really long airplane. And the height of the tail there is 60 feet and 8 inches. Pretty impressive. It's a pretty big part of Singapore Airlines fleet, of course. Singapore Airlines owns 27 or has 27 777-300ERs in service as of 2019. Although surprisingly, well, maybe not that surprisingly, because Singapore Airlines has a reputation for keeping a very modern fleet with typically a lot newer aircraft than in most other airline fleets. But the largest number of aircraft, or the largest, or the aircraft type that has the largest number of aircraft in service in Singapore Airlines is, believe it or not, the Airbus A350-900, which has the 34 Airbus A350-900s in Singapore's fleet at the moment, with 26 on order. And I'm going to go ahead and clear this disco here between Sanat and Lelon, which is, I believe, the initial fix for the ILS-02 center into Changi. There we go. All right, past Akima, onto Ibula, Lavax, Ignon, Sanat, Lelon, and then we'll be joining the ILS, or the localizer for the ILS-02 center approach into Changi. And we're continuing our descent here over Tanjung Pinang at the in the Riau Islands of Indonesia, just south of Singapore, or southeast of Singapore. Now I do have Orbex Vector installed, but for some reason I have this problem in these islands in particular of these straight line coastlines, which is kind of weird and not very pleasant to look at. But anyway, it is what it is. We're slowing down to our 250 knot speed restriction here, coming up on the Ibula intersection. Currently just past 11 a.m. local in Singapore. The time zone is 8 hours plus from UTC or GMT. So it's 4:07 UTC at the moment, and 11:07 a.m. in Singapore. Okay, through our transition level here. Going to set QNH 1011. transition level. Altimeters reset 1011.
1011 set.
Approach checklist, please.
Altimeters
1011 set.
1011. Approach checklist complete.
Now we're going to start slowing down to our 220 knot speed restriction at the Lavax intersection here. As per the arrival chart for Circa 1 Alpha. To 10,000, landing lights are coming on.
Cabin crew prepare for landing.
And I'm going to get out flaps 1 here to help slow us down a little bit to meet that 190 knot speed restriction at Sanat. Flaps 1.
Speed check flaps 1.
There we go. And roll altitude selector here down to 3,000 feet. Just got our cabin ready for landing message here on our display there. Seatbelts on, auto brake setting of 2. It is what we wanted. Perfect. Reduce speed here to 190. Flaps 5.
Speed check, flaps 5.
You can see we're 14.6 DME. 14.5 now from the localizer.
Check.
And you can see the city of Singapore there in the distance, as well as all the ships in the harbor. It's always an impressive sight. I've got Samscene's Singapore city scenery here, and Imaginesim's Changi Airport scenery as well. And we're going to depart sun out here in a heading of 283. And I'm going to reduce speed here to 180.
1,000 feet to level off.
We'll go into flight change mode here. Arm my speed brakes. Go to heading of 300. Sorry, I meant 290 actually. Okay, now we'll go to heading of 340. I'm going to arm my approach. Approach mode is armed. And I'm going to go to flaps 15. Flaps 15.
Speed check, flaps 15.
There we go, localizer capture. Glide slope capture.
Check.
Missed approach altitude set.
Check.
And down we go here on the glide slope. Very nice. You can see runway 02 center there and Changi Airport.
Radio altimeter alive.
Checked. And off the left side of the airplane, you can see downtown Singapore. And the Singapore harbor there. And all the cargo and tanker ships that are here in a holding pattern, waiting to either go in the harbor or depart to other destinations. Very, very cool. Gear down. And we'll reduce speed here to 144, which is our final approach speed. Flaps 20.
Speed check, flaps 20. Approach not stable.
1,000.
Flaps 30.
Speed check, flaps 30.
Landing checklist.
Speed brake.
Armed.
Landing gear.
Down.
Flaps.
Flaps. Flaps 30.
Landing checklist complete. 500 feet.
Visual.
Checked.
Landing.
Checked.
And I'll take it off autopilot here.
Approaching minimums. Minimums. 100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
Speed brakes up. Reversers normal.
Manual braking.
Check. 60 knots.
Okay, we're going to exit here on Echo 5. Okay to clean up.
Check.
Just activated my UT Live AI traffic here. And let's see, I'm going to try to taxi up here to gate F31 if that's available. So let's pull up GSX here and see if that is in fact available. F31 isn't, but F32 is, so that's the one we're going to take. Okay, let's keep going. F32 is right up ahead. Going to turn off my weather radar. Turn off my flight directors. And we're turn left up here on Romeo 2. Lights and doors.
Cabin crew disarm doors and cross-check.
And we're here on the left at F32. Okay, there we go. Gonna stop there and turn on set our parking brake. I'm gonna request that the GPU be connected.
Yeah, please connect the GPU.
Roger. Connect to the GPU.
And as soon as we show primary power on our primary external power available, we're going to turn on the external power bus here. There we go.
The GPU is connected.
And I'm going to go ahead and shut down our engines. Fuel control switches to cutoff. And we'll request deboarding. Just going to wait for a co-pilot here
I am
to...
ready for the checklist.
There we go. Shutdown checklist.
Shutdown checklist. Hydraulic panel. Set. Fuel pumps. Off. Flaps. Up. Parking brake.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Set.
Okay, can you please connect the air conditioning unit?
Roger. Connecting the air conditioning unit.
Fuel control switches.
Cut off.
Weather radar.
Off.
Off. Shutdown checklist complete.
Okay, shutdown checklist is completed. See the baggage carts pulling up there.
Captain, the air conditioning unit is connected.
Thanks. Okay, folks, welcome to Singapore Changi Airport, which was named by Skytrax as the world's best airport for 7 years running, actually. Thanks again for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you like this content, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we'll catch you on a future trip. You have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.